Hello everyone, this is Cody with World of Thrills, bringing you another walkthrough video, and in this video I will be taking you along with me on a full-length tour of Fun Spot Orlando, naturally located in Orlando, Florida. This park sits on 15 acres of land and was the original Fun Spot Park. We will get to all the attractions and this park's history later on in this video. First things first, we gotta discuss how you get to this park. Now, of course, your route is going to vary depending on where you are coming from, but this route I'm taking is going to be one of the more general ways you'll get there. From here, you're going to be looking for exit 75B. This is going to take you onto Kirkman Road. You could also use the exit previously, that would be 75A. That would be the exit you use to also get to Universal Studios. Instead of going left for Universal, though, you would take a right onto Universal Boulevard and then follow the same steps we'll be taking in this video. Once you've merged onto Kirkman Road, you're going to want to immediately get over to the left-hand side, and then you'll make a left turn at the first light onto International Drive. Once you've made that turn, you'll be on International Drive, and then it'll be just a short distance to the next light, where you'll make another left turn, and this time you'll be turning onto Grand National Drive. And now that you're on Grand National Drive, it's going to be another short distance to the next turn. You'll start seeing the park a lot more visibly. You'll pass by a big Fun Spot sign, and then you'll see White Lightning right alongside you on the right. And then you'll just keep going further a little more, and then you'll turn right onto Fun Spot Way. And now that you're on Fun Spot Way, it'll be just another short distance, and then you'll make a right turn into the parking lot for Fun Spot Orlando. And once you've entered the parking lot, you'll go ahead and park your car, and you'll end up right back here. So we are now in the parking lot for Fun Spot Orlando. This is the main entrance for the park. You'll pass through security, so let's go through there. You'll pass through, walk a short distance, straight ahead, and then you'll end up right here. Now that we are in Fun Spot Orlando, you'll see a lot of the rides a lot more close up. First things first, however, you'll want to come over here and get your ride tickets. You'll either need to purchase ride tickets or you can get an unlimited wristband if you want to experience any of the attractions here. Over on the left-hand side, you'll have a set of restrooms, and you just have some of the rides laid out in front of you. That is the Sky Coaster you see towering above the whole park, a nice little carousel. The yellow roller coaster is Freedom Flyer. You'll get to Freedom Flyer and White Lightning later on. That's on the right-hand side once you enter. But we're going to go to the left to kick this walkthrough off. The Fun Spot parks are set up as a more permanent carnival. We've been to a state fair or carnival. This park is going to have more of a feel of those places, where, of course, a state fair is more of a temporary spot. These are permanent locations, so these rides and this park are not going anywhere. These are here 24/7, 365 days a year, so they are not going anywhere. And they're just, again, set up like your average carnival. You have concession stands scattered throughout, a whole bunch of rides, and it's pretty nice. You can see that the pathways are fairly empty. That's because this was shot fairly early on in the day. These parks are definitely more lively at night, where a lot more people come out, and the lights on the all the attractions are popping in the Florida night, which is really nice. But if you want a more laid back experience, you can definitely still come to these parks during the day, and you'll get a much better experience as opposed to being jam packed with people at a place like Disney or Universal. There's a little ice cream stand, and the one neat feature of Fun Spot Orlando is this right here. This is an area where you'll find live gators, and you can buy food to feed them with. So a nice little feature within this park. Um, and we'll just keep going this way. You'll just find more rides. There's a Happy Swing. Right next to that is the park's kiddie coaster. That is Sea Serpent, an E.F. Myler kiddie coaster. So for those who are counting credits, there are 3 roller coasters in this park, as White Lightning, Freedom Flyer, and Sea Serpent. You've got more midway games on the left hand side. And this area down here is a dead end, so we will have to backtrack our way out of here. But this actually was my first ever time being down in this area, so we'll be exploring this area of the park together. You can see Commander on the right hand side. That is one of the park's go kart tracks. They have a total of 2. The other one is tucked away back here a ways, so we will see that in just a second. There is a French fry stand, fresh and hot. Back there is an area for employees. That big yellow building is an arcade, which is another thing all 3 parks can share, is that they have a fairly decent sized arcade within their park. There's now a look at the arcade. There's a set of bumper cars right next to it. You can see the giant Ferris wheel right above us. And then tucked away back here is where you'll find the entrance to the second go-kart tracks, and you'll find a little splash pad and a few other attractions. But again, it is a dead end, so once you have done all these, you'll have to backtrack out of here, which we'll do right now. So in the beginning of this video, I mentioned that this was a 15-acre park, and it was fairly small. Despite the small stature, though, this park does have a lot of rides jam-packed within it, ranging for all age groups. The biggest of which, again, is that 250-foot sky coaster we saw at the beginning. That is actually currently the second tallest sky coaster in the world. We will discuss more about that ride when we get over to it. Again, these parks, you can come here during the day, so don't let you can definitely do that. But these parks are definitely a lot more interesting when you come during the nighttime. Again, all the lights on the different attractions will be popping in the Orlando sky, and it'll feel a lot more lively. There will be obviously a lot more people here as well, so if you want to deal with a little bit of a heavier crowd here, you can come during the night. That is the one nice thing about showing up early like this, and now you don't have to deal with such heavy crowd like you do at Universal or Disney. You kind of take your time, just walk around, enjoy the place. If you went back the pathway we are on, it would just take you right back to the entrance of the park. So we're going to take a left right between these 2 rides. That's the entrance for Sea Serpent. That was the Happy Swing behind me. And then on the left side, next to Sea Serpent, is an American-themed obstacle course. But yeah, these parks, they're not meant to be an all-day experience. They are here as a, like the name suggests, fun spot. They are meant to be an end-of-the-day kind of experience. But that being said, they are definitely still worth checking out. Right in front of us is a Johnny Rockets. There's also a pizza place inside of there. So you're not going to find, very unique food options here. It's going to be more your typical food offerings: pizza, burgers, chicken tenders, stuff like that. But that being said, it is still, solid food options here. That is the back half of White Lightning, which we will discuss more when we get over to that ride. Because I want to take a moment to discuss the giant in this park, and that is the 250-foot tall sky coaster. I have had the opportunity of doing this attraction. I actually would do it later on during this visit after this video was recorded. It is an exhilarating ride. You go pretty much. It is the tallest thing in Orlando. So taller than Velocicoaster, taller than Mako over at SeaWorld. The stairs right there lead to the Sky Diner, which is an area where you can just sit and relax. And there you can see just the scale of the size of this ride. It kind of looks like the Gateway Arch in St. Louis when you look at it from a certain angle, which is kind of cool. That's, of course, the Gateway Arch is like 4 times the size of the Sky Coaster, but it kind of looks like it, which is pretty cool. The Sky Coaster will run you about $40 for one flight, which can be reduced if you get the unlimited wristband or if you get the Fun Spot Season Pass. If you get the unlimited pass, you get one free flight, and then it's $10 every time after that. If you get the regular season pass, it is $10 per flight each visit. So, maybe something to consider if you come to this park and you want to do the Sky Coaster. You can either get the unlimited wristband, which will also reduce it down to $10, or you can get the season pass, which obviously doesn't do you much good if you don't really come to the Fun Spot parks all that often because they are really only here in Orlando, and then you have the one in Atlanta as well. But something to consider. We're now heading over to the side of the park, and there's really only going to be a couple rides here, but both of them are pretty good, and they're going to be a good reason to come to this park alone. The first of which is the coaster we saw as you're driving up to the park. This is White Lightning. White Lightning is a GCI wooden roller coaster, and despite its small stature, much like the park, this is a very, very solid roller coaster. Um, a very solid out and back layout with a bunch of the classic GCI, twists and turns. It has a decent swooping drop. A very, very good coaster that unfortunately gets kind of overshadowed by the giants here in Orlando. With, this park's only like 10 minutes from Universal and about 20 minutes from SeaWorld, and Disney's not too far as well. So this ride, unfortunately, it's kind of overshadowed. But um, this ride alone makes it worth it to come out to this park. There you can see it go down the drop and go through the layout a little bit. Solid airtime moments, some solid forces, and again, it really alone makes the visit to this park worth it. The big yellow coaster that's towering above us, that is Freedom Flyer, a nice complement to White Lightning. That is a Vekoma suspended family coaster. So if you've done Dragonfly or Dollywood or some of the other similar models, then you know what those rides are like. Tucked back away here is where you'll find the entrance to White Lightning, and then Liberty Swing is a basically kind of Star Flyer. There's Liberty Swing. They do have some seats where you can lay down during the ride, which I have had the opportunity of doing, and it was not really all that pleasant, to be honest. There's the entrance for White Lightning. There's Freedom Flyer going up its lift hill. We're going to pause for a moment to watch it go through its paces. Another neat attraction for Fun Spot Orlando. Again, it's a nice complement for White Lightning. White Lightning is definitely the more intense ride, and then this one is a nice, no more of a family coaster. Nice experience for the entire family. But it is a solid ride, so don't let the small size deceive you. It was really good. And there's the entrance for Freedom Flyer, and there is one more concession stand right there, a slushy stand. And that's basically going to be it for Fun Spot Orlando. That was the last attraction. That was the last thing to see. So, like I said, this park is obviously not super big. However, it is a very solid park. Obviously, again, it's more geared for the end of day experience. So, like, you would go to Universal or SeaWorld or Disney. So, one of the other big parks, and then this is kind of like a, again, end of day experience. But again, don't let the small sizes deceive you. This park, as well as one in Kissimmee, they are small, but they pack a lot of rides in a very small space. So that's why I recommend that you check out Fun Spot Orlando in Orlando, Florida. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to stay tuned for my Kissimmee walkthrough, and I will see you next time. Take care.